proud moment for every Indian. Bureau Report, India Today.
So the questions that we asked tonight: has the government undermined the president's position? Should it have been the president inaugurating the new parliament building? The president is the head of the parliament. Is anti-Modism driving the opposition boycott? Is the opposition simply being obstructionists? And the question of propriety or pure politics. Let's take the questions to our guest this evening. VK Agnihotri, former Secretary General, Rajya Sabha and former Secretary Parliamentary Affairs, joins us. PDT Achari, former Secretary General, Lok Sabha. Ajay Kumar, Dr. Ajay Kumar, Congress spokesperson. Saket Gokhale, TMC spokesperson. Prashant Bhatia, BJP spokesperson. Before we cut across to our political panelists, I'd like to go to Mr. PDT Achari as well as VK Agnihotri. VK Agnihotri is former Secretary General, Rajya Sabha and former Secretary Parliamentary Affairs. The question is just pure protocol as per the Constitution, sir. Should the President of the country, President Murmu, have inaugurated the new Parliament building?
You see, I would like to make a distinction between the Parliament and Parliament building. What is at issue now is Parliament building, not the Parliament. There cannot be any question about the President being the head of the Parliament. Actually, the Parliament is defined as President and the two houses. That is Parliament. So the Constitution provides that the President will address the two houses assembled together every year in the first session. That is what the Constitution provides. Now, as far as the inauguration of the Parliament building is concerned, it is an executive matter. Of course, if the President was invited, then it would have been improper for anybody else to inaugurate it. But if President is not there, then there is no problem in the Prime Minister inaugurating it or somebody else doing it as per the requirement of this thing. And I am told that last time the Speaker had invited the Prime Minister, for some inauguration or something to do with the Parliament building. So that is purely an executive matter. It is not a question of the dignity of the Parliament as I think about it in constitutional terms.
All right. Mr. Achari, do you also see that clear distinction between Parliament and the parliamentary building? The Parliament, of course, undoubted, unparalleled. The President is the head of Parliament, but the building is different from the Parliament. Therefore, the Prime Minister can inaugurate the Parliament building.
Well, it's very clear that there is a distinction between Parliament building and the Parliament. As my former colleague Mr. Agnihotri has said, Parliament, as defined in the Constitution, means the President and the two houses. And everybody knows that the President comes to inaugurate the Parliament. Now, the point is, there can be a feeling, in fact, there is a feeling, strong feeling, that the new Parliament building, which, according to the government, represents the new India. When such a Parliament is inaugurated, naturally, it should be the President who should inaugurate it. It's a general feeling about it. And the opposition parties are, they have expressed their views very strongly. But the point is, the Prime Minister in this country occupies a very unique position. In our constitutional setup, the entire executive power is concentrated in the Prime Minister. And it is the Prime Minister who decides who should inaugurate this building and whether it should be the President or the Prime Minister himself or somebody else. It is actually the decision of the Prime Minister, because every decision is taken by him on all these matters, important decisions. So when the Prime Minister decides that the Parliament building should be inaugurated by him, then We can't say anything about it because it is, after all, it is the Prime Minister who could have decided that the Parliament building would be inaugurated by the President. It is the Prime Minister who has decided that not the President, it will be inaugurated by the Prime Minister. So it is actually the Prime Minister who will decide.
Okay.
It is his decision. It is his decision. Now, whether it is wrong or right, I do not want to make a value judgment on that.
Right.
But this is the fact.
But Mr. Preeti Achari, and that's what is being debated right now. Can you actually, distinguish between the Parliament building and the Parliament as such? Because many view the Parliament building as the Parliament.
Well, you see, that distinction, in a technical sense, we can make that distinction. But otherwise, it doesn't carry us too far. That is what I feel. That distinction exists. After all, building is a building. And Parliament constitutionally means something else. But it doesn't carry us too far, especially when we deal with this question, where a certain amount of opposition, strong opposition, has been expressed by a certain section of the political section of the political class. So naturally, there can be an opinion that perhaps it should have been inaugurated by the President. There can be an opinion, but since the Prime Minister has decided, who is the final authority on all these matters, then there cannot be any further question about it. It is his decision. As I said, he could have decided that the President will inaugurate. He could have decided.
Mr. VK, right. Mr. VK Agnihotri, I'll come back to you, sir. Once again, I just request a bit of patience from our political panelists. I just want to take a question or two from Mr. VK Agnihotri and Mr. Preeti Achari. Mr. VK Agnihotri, in terms of past precedents, has there been precedents earlier? Because, both sides, be it the opposition or the incumbent government, are arguing that there have been instances in the past where not the President, the Prime Minister has either laid the foundation stone or inaugurated various parts of the Parliament building, which could be the library or the annex.
Actually, if you have been listening to the news items, I don't have access to all the information on this subject. But if you have been listening, then not only in the Parliament, but even in the state assemblies, etc., the executive has been inaugurating facilities in the legislature. So there are precedents, but I cannot warrant or guarantee those because they were not there in my time.
All right. Okay. Preeti Achari, if you look at past precedents, it has happened, sir, because, today, what is it? The incumbent government is arguing that it happened in 1975, then it happened in 1987 under Ms. Indira Gandhi and Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, where one inaugurated and laid, and the other laid the foundation stone for the library and the annex.
Yeah, there are precedents. I'm not denying that. The point is that we invited the Honorable President to inaugurate the museum in the library. That is also a precedent. So all these precedents are there. That's what I'm saying. Somebody has to decide about it. And that somebody is the Prime Minister, nobody else. Nobody else will decide it. The Prime Minister has decided. And so far as this inauguration is concerned, that is the end of the matter. Now, we can certainly go on discussing the rights and wrongs of it, or the propriety or otherwise of this issue. But that is neither here nor there.
Mr. Achari, if, one of the main reasons I would reckon that the President hasn't been invited is because if the President was there in person, then as per the Constitution, it would have been incorrect that the Prime Minister inaugurates the Parliament building.
No, that is provided in the Constitution. It's a constitutional function where the President comes, addresses members of both houses. It's a constitutional function. President, nobody can replace the President. So that there cannot be any departure from that. But this is in a way, it's slightly different from that. It is not a constitutional kind of function where the Prime Minister is free to decide who should inaugurate. But in the case of addressing the Parliament, members of Parliament, inaugurating the new session of Parliament, the Prime Minister cannot take any other decision. That is the thing.
Right.
Prime Minister is not free to take any other decision. But this is an area where the Prime Minister can take a
Can
decision.
take a decision, and he's made a decision. Now there's no value
Yeah, that
judgment on that. One can whatever views they have is separate. But yes,
Exactly.
Mr. Agnihotri, you wanted to make a comment, sir?
Yes, I wanted to answer your question more directly. If both President and Prime Minister are present, then as I have already said, in terms of order of precedence, the President should have be requested or invited to do the honors rather than the Prime Minister.
All right. Appreciate you joining us, sir. Both, Mr. V.K. Agnihotri and Mr. P.D.T. Achari. Thank you there, because in the midst of all the politics, one loses focus on what is constitutionally correct. But thank you for shedding light there. Appreciate our political panelists for bearing with us and the patience. Gaurav Bhatia, I'd want to begin with you, because one can keep talking about how there's been past precedents in 1975 or 1987 with many of your leaders who have quoted Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. But, the Congress can also come out and say that, okay, one of them might have inaugurated it, but the actual, laid the foundation stone for it, but the actual inauguration happened by the president. We'll delve deeper. But Gaurav Bhatia, with the conversation we just had with both P.D.T. Achari and Mr. Agnihotri, it was the perspective or the purview of the Prime Minister. Could the BJP, could the Prime Minister have done things differently? Because yes, maybe the Congress did it in the past, but would it have been correct to let the President come out and inaugurate the new building?
Preeti, first of all, let me make it very clear that the nation is celebrating this occasion where the country would get a new building. And let us not forget, Parliament is the temple of our democracy. Now, being a student of law, let me first address the question you asked on a legal plane. If you read the Constitution of India, Article 79 makes it very clear that the Parliament, and I'm not talking about the building, but the Parliament, comprises of the President and the two houses of the Parliament. Now, we all know that Parliament reflects the will of the people, and nobody is a better embodiment than the Prime Minister, who also is elected by the people and is the leader of the Treasury benches in the Lok Sabha. So point number one, that I think it is only proper that Prime Minister is inaugurating the new building. This is not a debate where we need to pit the President versus Prime Minister. We have to see whether he has the power and whether he is the right person to do the honors or not. Second, it is also important to understand, Preeti, that when the Constitution has an area which is not specifically mentioned in the Constitution, there are precedents and there are conventions, and these are rich conventions that have been done in the past, and therefore they are followed. Now in this case also, you are saying don't follow that convention, it was done in the past, but now why are you doing it? I must tell you that it's not only a case that in 1975 Indira Gandhi inaugurated the Parliament Annex, which was part of the building, and in 1987 Rajiv Gandhi ji, he inaugurated the Parliament Library building. But I must also say it was rather unconstitutional and illegal that the assembly buildings in Chhattisgarh, it was inaugurated by Sonia Gandhi. In Manipur, as late as in 2011, inaugurated by Sonia Gandhi. She was not holding any constitutional position. Then why was this privilege extended to them? That was the kind of VVIP culture we have seen. Third most important, the nation is rejoicing. Why do you have to oppose every historical decision taken by the Prime Minister? And let me just clarify and elaborate. Article 370 abrogation, historical, opposed by the Congress party and the opposition. GST implementation, a special session was convened. The Congress boycotted that. They boycotted the vaccines that were indigenously prepared in India. They boycotted the installation of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose statue. Why always oppose? And they have no reason to oppose. And last but not the least, if you allow me, this 19-party bogey. Let me tell you very clearly The sum total of all the 19 parties holding the seat is 97. And BJP alone has 303 seats. If you add BJD 12, YSR 22, BSP 9, the Shiv Sena, Eknath Shinde 19 seats, TDP 3, the number will swell up to around 368. So 368 members want to celebrate this occasion just like the 1.4 billion Indians want to. And at the other side is the perpetually pessimistic, obstructionist 19 parties. Thank you.
I'm going to take that question, but Mr. Bhatia, when you talk about Article 79, I do have it, and I think that's what both our constitutional experts also suggested. Now, the Constitution of India, 1949, 79.
Even I am a student of
right.
law.
I'm no student of law, sir. I am no student of law. But having said that, with what it seems to suggest is that there shall be a parliament for the union which shall consist of the president and two houses, to be known respectively as the Council of States and the House of the People. As per 79, I would reckon, at least where the parliament is concerned, one thing is indisputed, is the fact that the head of parliament is the president. Now, a distinction can be made where the parliament building comes into question and the parliament in general. On the other hand, Mr. Bhatia, and I'll come back to you. I will come back to you if you allow me.
Sure.
Those two instances that you called upon.
Sure.
Now, the foundation of the Parliament House Annex built, laid on August 3rd, 1970, was by V.V. Giri, the then president. So, the foundation stone was laid by the president, but inaugurated in 1975 by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. On the account of Rajiv Gandhi, which has been brought up by many of your leaders. Now, the foundation stone for the library was laid by Rajiv Gandhi. However, the inauguration on May 7th was done by President R.K. Narayanan, sir. So, the instances that have been quoted are incomplete as well. Mr. Bhatia.
So what is your logic?
The logic, sir, number
What is your logic?
number one.
That-
If you're asking me, I'll...
Listen,
yes.
Preeti, the logic that you are giving right now is, see, we have to understand, even whether there is a power, whether propriety demands that one has to inaugurate and the other constitutional position holder cannot. So if one can't, then you can't. It is not about foundation laying stone ceremony and or inauguration ceremony. If one has been done by the other person, it clearly reveals that even the Honorable Prime Minister is a very high constitutional post, and the Prime Minister can always inaugurate these buildings, especially when in the last 30 months we have seen how it was dreamt by the Congress. The need for a new parliament building was spelled out by Meera Kumar, Speaker in the Congress government, but it was Narendra Modi ji that ensured that India gets a new parliament building.
All right, okay.
So
now
there is nothing improper, illegal about
there's nothing unconstitutional about it, because like we pointed out, the head of the parliament might be the president, but this is a parliament building, so there is a distinction. Now, one might view it differently, Dr. Ajay Kumar, but the fact is that it is the prerogative of the executive to decide. And the executive has decided, the Prime Minister has decided that the Prime Minister will inaugurate the building. It's not constitutionally incorrect. You can value add or value judge on that, but constitutionally you can't question him, sir.
So a couple of things. One is, I was hearing the previous distinguished speakers from the Rajya Sabha and the previous Secretary General of the Lok Sabha, What is interesting and what they kept saying was that the Prime Minister can invite anyone, right? So here is a Prime Minister who invites himself. So which is pretty interesting that here is a gentleman who invites himself to inaugurate it himself, which is itself a strange way of functioning. The second issue is, there is a Lok Sabha where there is the Speaker, there's a Rajya Sabha where there's the Vice President is the Chairman. Two chambers of the Parliament. So now the Vice President cannot attend this function, because if he attends, then Modi ji cannot inaugurate. The Lok Sabha Speaker can attend, but the Vice President is in the list, in the precedent list, he's above the Prime Minister, President, Vice President, Prime Minister. So Modi ji decides that, no, I'm not going to call the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, because I definitely feel that, because he would be the guy who will inaugurate it. Third is, my distinguished colleague from the Bharatiya Janata Party says, I mean, tomorrow if you, Parliament Annex is where there is a doctor, CGHS doctor, Secretariat, is it a parliament? Or is the Parliament library the Parliament? I mean, so I was been hearing their statements throughout the day, and I'm singularly amazed with the serious lack of either mentation on this issue, that the Parliament building or the way the Lok Sabha. One second, I'll just Preeti.
Yes?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but but Dr. Kumar, you might say the annex or the library is not the Parliament. Neither is the Parliament building then, by the virtue of that argument, sir. And to be honest, the BJP might have brought up the instance of 1975 and 1985. But if you look at it from 1957, there is a string of precedents, sir. And I can get into each one of those. But having said that, it tantamounts to the same thing. So therefore, an argument that might be a tad rich being made by the Congress.
No, so first question is, ma'am, Preeti, if Mr. Gaurav Bhatia and anybody feels that the Parliament library is the Parliament, then I live on a different planet and I need to relocate myself to the right planet. First question. I can't figure this out at all because it's very Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha system. But anyway, power to such thinking. That secondly, Gaurav said we brought historical legislation, GST we opposed. They opposed GST throughout. They opposed NCT against counter-terror. No, so they opposed National Food Security Bill. They opposed everything which was progressive. And when we brought it, and then when we are raising issues on GST on legislative issues, and which we did, we continue to say it on 27% taxation, etc. The third point is to equate the Bharatiya Janata Party that the nation is celebrating. We had a press conference on Manipur. You can inaugurate the Parliament building, but you cannot visit Manipur once.
Okay.
You cannot walk 54,000 people. No, it's important because 54,000 people are displaced. Hundreds have died. 100 people. No, Preeti. So my question, I'll cut short. So my question is, if you look at all the 19 parties in the state governments which they control, then the BJP in minority. You want to look at statistics? I can hide any facts. TMC, Bengal. If you look at all these states, my question again is how you dress up You said that how you dress up, and my basic objection.
But Dr. Kumar, and I want to bring in your counterpart. You've talked about the TMC. Saket Gokhale is there from the TMC. Saket Gokhale, why shouldn't one believe that this has nothing really to do with the Parliament? Because the opposition, the TMC, the likes of the Congress have had an issue with the Parliament building from the very inception of the Parliament building. So this is a motley crew of parties coming together where it's anti-Modism and not so much of what is constitutionally right. That's the argument, Mr. Gokhale.
It's unfair to use the term motley crew. I mean, all of us in our own right, all the 19 opposition parties, all of us run at least one state government between each other. All of us represent one state at least. So for the BJP spokesperson to talk about, the BJP has so many seats and this is irrelevant. Are you saying that the people of Bengal are irrelevant? Are you saying the people of Delhi are irrelevant? Are you insulting the people of Telangana by saying that their representatives are irrelevant? This is the kind of the arrogance of the BJP. Number two, we're talking about historic occasions. Yes, the Prime Minister has the prerogative to invite whoever he wants. But why does the Prime Minister have this desperate need to be at the center of everything? The vaccine certificates need to have the Prime Minister's photo on it. The Prime Minister's photo has to be put up everywhere. The Parliament building foundation is laid by the Prime Minister. The national emblem is inaugurated by the Prime Minister. Now the building is going to be inaugurated by the Prime Minister. The head of state of India is the President of India. The Prime Minister, as the BJP spokesperson very incorrectly said, is not voted by the people of India. The Prime Minister is voted by the parliamentary party, by MPs who are elected by the people of India. It is the MPs. The Prime Minister currently is a representative of the people of Varanasi, not of the people. He's not been elected by the people of India. It's the MPs who have elected him. At the end of it, the executive also, according to the constitution, the head of the executive, the head of the sorry, I did not interrupt you, sir. Please don't interrupt me. The head of the executive, the council of ministers, of which the PM is a part, are sworn in by the President of India. The government runs in the name of the President of India. So here we talk about separation of powers. We have the executive roughshod trampling on the powers of the Parliament. The BJP.
But Mr. Gokhale, I want to bring in Gaurav Bhatia, but there has been a distinction. Now, there can be a value judgment on it, and we can debate till kingdom come. But the fact is very clear that constitutionally speaking, the parliament is different than the parliament building. And that is what the two
It's not a
constitutional
question of
experts over
building.
there.
Look, it's a question of. See,
So
here's
it's
the
not
thing.
constitutionally.
Here's the thing. Are we
Incorrect,
saying
sir.
that Mahatma Gandhi? Wait, are we saying that Mahatma Gandhi is different from a statue of Mahatma Gandhi? So the statue should not be respected, but Mahatma Gandhi should be
So
respected.
you
Is
can
that
interpret it like that, but it is.
an
But,
argument. This is that kind of an argument.
well, sir, like I
say
said,
that
you
the
can
building
value
is
judge
different.
that, you can interpret it as that, but is it constitutionally incorrect and against the
It is not.
constitution?
Isn't that, we're not
That's
talking about
debatable and arguable.
constitutionally.
Gaurav Bhatia, I want to bring you in.
Constitutionally, we are saying.
Gaurav Bhatia, the fact is, the question comes into.
Certain things might not
Okay.
be illegal, but they're definitely immoral. There's a
Okay.
difference between.
You can call it immoral, but you can't call it incorrect. Gaurav Bhatia, and that's where the question arises from.
It is improper.
Okay, fine. But Gaurav Bhatia, then it comes down to the same question which the opposition
I'll
is
take
making.
it
It's not
forward.
anti-Modism, but the Prime Minister can't be India and India can't be the Prime Minister.
You know, nobody has said that the Prime Minister is India and India is Prime Minister. Rather, I'm reminded it was coined by the Congress party when they said Indira is India and India is Indira. But let me first take forward what we've been discussing. In India, under the Constitution, we have to understand the scheme. It is not centric in terms of the building. It is a constitutional position holder centric. And I'll give you an example. Article 124 talks about the Supreme Court. Supreme Court comprises of the Honorable Chief Justice of India and other judges of the Supreme Court. Do you know that before the current Supreme Court building was inaugurated, the Honorable Supreme Court, Chief Justice of India and judges were actually holding the court in the Parliament building only? The point is very simple, that we are getting a new building and the new building is being inaugurated by the executive head, the Prime Minister of the country. And I feel the people are rejoicing. You also need to participate.
Sir, let's go one by
Because
one.
it
Sir, let's go one by one. I'll come back to you. Let him finish and I'm coming right to you. Go ahead, Mr. Bhatia, make your point.
Yes. You know, very humbly, I would say that all political parties, even if they are in the opposition, they are participants and equal stakeholder in the parliament. When they boycott, what they show is that their hatred for Narendra Modi ji far exceeds their own sense of duty towards the people of the country. Second, Preeti, you very rightly asked them that if it was only about the president inaugurating the new building, then why did they call it Modi Mahal in the first place? Why did they say it is wasteful expenditure? And the Honorable Supreme Court and High Court has now answered that. They are changing the goalpost, or rather, I should say they are running with the goalpost because they only wish to oppose every move of the government and the far vision that Narendra Modi ji has for the country. And last but not the least, where is the solution? The opposition itself has different voices. OAC today said it should be inaugurated by the Speaker. The Speaker is inviting the Honorable Prime Minister. The 19 parties are saying it should be inaugurated by the President. Their main job is to criticize, condemn without any substance and to oppose this historic day which the country is welcoming.
All right, Dr. Ajay Kumar, you wanted to come in. Let's set the premise, Dr. Kumar. Let's say yes, that it is the President who is the head of the Parliament as per the Constitution. But like we've been debating ad nauseum, here there is a difference, as slender as that difference might be. But even on this planet, that differentiation has been made, Dr. Kumar, by constitutional experts, where the Parliament and the Parliament building comes into question. Therefore, the question that is asked, are you being purely obstructionist in something that possibly you might or should have welcomed?
So first of all, to Gaurav, I don't think any one of us, I don't know whether they hate us, but we are not here to hate Mr. Modi. We oppose him tooth and nail. So let's get it very clear. Politics is not some kind of a hatred campaign and all. You're a political opponent. We dislike your policies. We don't dislike you. And so if they're not able to distinguish, we can distinguish it. So we don't like the Bharatiya Janata Party's policy, but we have no hatred at all towards any individual. Never towards the Prime Minister, and there's no question. If that kind of wording is not only inappropriate, it insults everybody's intelligence. The second issue is, I'm trying to wrap my head around this Bharatiya Janata Party. So here is the Prime Minister who invites himself. So that's quite not only immoral, it is very, very, what you call, it's strange. You have a party, and then the chief guest is yourself. One second, can I complete, Gaurav? I didn't interrupt you when you're speaking. The third part is, the Rajya Sabha is headed by the Vice President. So the Speaker is the head of the Lok Sabha, but the Vice President is not invited because if he gets invited,
you made that point, and that's the point. I know. Saket Gokhale, you want to come in, but I want to take the point. Dr. Kumar, with your permission, and Saket Gokhale, with your permission, I want to take that point back to Mr. Bhatia. Mr. Bhatia, do you not, sir, find it...
I should have my chance too.
Sir, I'm coming back to you because you're two of them, he's one. Do appreciate, and I'll come right back to you. Both of you have a similar point, and he's one. I'll come right back to you. Let him answer.
I have a very different point if you allow me to express it.
Sir, I'm coming right back to you. Let him answer, and I will come right back to you. I promise you'll have your say. But, Mr. Bhatia, my question's very simple. The sheer fact, yes, it's not constitutionally incorrect. Whether it's immoral, improper, that's what the opposition says. It's for the people to decide. But do you not find it odd that you're inaugurating the Parliament, the Vice President who presides over one of the houses, the President who's supposed to be the head of the Parliament, won't be present at such a momentous occasion, sir? Isn't that odd?
Preeti, at least twice you have said that fine, the Prime Minister inaugurating the new building of the Parliament is constitutionally not illegal, but it is morally not correct. I must say this to you with utmost respect. This is not about pitting the President or the Vice President against the Prime Minister of the country. All constitutional position holders are to be respected. And when you ask me that why is the President not doing and why is the Vice President not doing it, let me make it very clear to you. There are other ways also of participating in a momentous occasion like this. I am not privy to the schedule of the President and the Vice President. All that I can say is that all precedents and the rich tradition of our country has been kept in mind, is being followed. The Prime Minister himself has not invited himself. I think Ajay ji missed the point. It is the Speaker who is invited the Prime Minister. And let us celebrate the occasion rather than nitpicking and only trying to find faults in the process, because we must at least give it to the Prime Minister that the need of a new Parliament building was felt in 2012. They couldn't deliver. Narendra Modi ji, under his dynamic leadership, within 899 days has delivered on ground, and we are going to have a futuristic building which will meet the need of the nation.
All right. So, number one, it's the opposition which has called it immoral on this debate. I didn't call it immoral, Mr. Bhatia. Number two, it's a question that, of course, any journalist would ask, because you have the President who's supposed to head the Parliament, you have the Vice President who presides over one of these houses, and they cannot be called for this momentous occasion. It's a journalistic question, Mr. Bhatia.
Are you privy to their schedule, Preeti?
Yeah, I agree.
Are you privy to their schedule?
No, I'm not, sir, but it's a question.
Are you aware that they are available on that day? And then...
Mr. Bhatia.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Mr. Bhatia.
Are you privy to
That's for you to answer, sir.
Mr.
Bhatia, that's for you. No, it's not an argument.
It's my duty to ask you.
Sir, it's not an argument.
No, I'm asking you.
It's my question that I had to ask you.
This is not a hypothetical question.
Sir, it's a question which I would hope you would appreciate for any journalist to ask you.
So I would not like to answer a question which is in the realm of a hypothetical area. I would rather wait for the facts to emerge and then answer.
Sir, you have every right to say that while I have that question, every right to ask that question. But Saket Gokhale, you wanted to come in and
it's kind of unfortunate to see the BJP spokesperson doing bullying here. He's asking whether you know the schedule of the President and the Vice President.
Sir, if we get into bullying, all of you bully. No, sir. You have to stand. I have to stand my ground. I wouldn't get. No, he didn't bully me. No, Mr. Gokhale, he didn't bully me. But the question I'll ask you. Can I just get Mr. Saket Gokhale? All right, Mr. Saket Gokhale has been waiting his turn, but Mr. Gokhale.
Can I respond to his question?
Yes. Please go ahead, sir.
He just asked Do we know the schedule whether the president and prime minister, president and vice president are available? If they're not available, why did the ceremony have to happen on the 28th? Is it because it's the birth anniversary of Vinayak Damodar Savarkar? Is that the reason the date could not be changed to accommodate the president's schedule? Number one. Number two, we are talking in this whole thing about whether it's constitutionally okay or not okay. Look, India's order of precedence is also not prescribed in the constitution.
Okay.
But protocol means that when the president is present there, the prime minister cannot inaugurate. It doesn't say like that anywhere in the constitution of India. But we are an order of precedence.
Can I respond to
Right,
it?
you can. Okay.
Sorry, I did not interrupt you.
Make your point, sir. Quickly make your point. Go ahead, Mr. Gokhale, make your point, and I'll cut across to Mr. Bhatia. And yes, Dr. Kumar, I'll come to you after that. Go ahead.
Absolutely everything, even here, it's the opposition parties don't like Modi. They're against Modi. It's all the problem with this prime minister is everything is about himself. Everything is because you like Modi, because you don't dislike Modi. Modi has to do this. Modi's photo on the vaccine certificate. Modi ji will inaugurate the parliament as if there is absolutely nobody
But
else.
you know, okay. Mr. Gokhale, the fact is, why not have a man on the ticket who's drawn in you the maximum amount of support? It's politics ultimately. But, okay.
The point is, I mean, you say 899 days. Does the Prime Minister have the Urban Affairs Ministry? Did the Prime Minister supervise the construction of the parliament?
So, well, there are pictures which seem to suggest that he did. But like I said, neither of us were privy of what he did. These are questions. Okay, I want to... Mr. Bhatia, you wanted to respond to Mr. Gokhale very quickly, and I'll cut across to Dr. Kumar there.
Absolutely. First of all, in the first segment, Mr. Gokhale said that the BJP is insulting the people of Bengal. Mr. Gokhale should always keep in mind that we have 18 MPs from West Bengal and 77 MLAs. So it's not as if...
Lost. Come on.
Be quiet?
Can we just go one by one, sir?
Preeti,
Please
can
go
you be
ahead.
quiet?
Yes, Mr. Bhatia, go ahead.
Let's not go into bad memories.
Can I just go
Yes.
in? Okay, can I get Mr. Bhatia? There's no point getting into heckling each other because it's not going to make any sense. Nobody's going to hear squat little. Go ahead, Mr. Bhatia, make your point.
Yes. So I just want to say that yes, Mamata Banerjee ji got the mandate. She represents the people of West Bengal. But the same applies to the Bharatiya Janata Party as well.
Okay.
Please don't be so conceited in saying that you are insulting the people of West Bengal. Second, he spoke about the warrant of precedence. And if he applied it to the state hierarchy, the governor is much higher than the chief minister in the warrant of precedence. I have a news on 5th of October 2013. CM Mamata Banerjee inaugurated the Vidhan Sabha Secretariat building. The governor was not even there. Preeti,
Okay.
the warrant of precedence, if followed strictly, mandated that
Okay.
Mamata Banerjee should have been present with
Okay, you made...
the governor and the
Okay,
governor
Mr.
should have
Bhatia,
inaugurated.
Mr. Gokhale, please
But
respond,
he
and I will
was
go to
absent.
Dr. Kumar, who's been patiently waiting. Mr. Gokhale, you have 10 seconds. Mr. Bhatia has asked you a pointed question.
Let us put it this way. The Congress did this, the TMC did this, but doesn't Prime Minister Modi say that his party is a party with a difference? If your response to everything is going to be that, oh, Congress did this, then what is the difference between
Look
you
at
and
this
anyone?
now.
Okay.
To stop
All
this
right.
party with
Okay.
difference nonsense.
Dr.
You
Kumar,
talk
you
for
wanted to make a
Mamata
point.
Banerjee.
I'm going to
talking
start
about the
closing the
Congress.
debate right now. Dr. Kumar, you wanted to make a point, but ultimately many would suggest, you lie in the bed that you make. You've set precedents through the course since 1957, and now it's happening to you.
So, three quick points. Gauravji said that India is celebrating, but two people are definitely not celebrating the parliament building is the president and the vice president. For sure, because they're not being invited. The second issue is that when there was an attack on the parliament, was it on the building when Vajpayee ji was the prime minister, or was it on the parliament? So this whole concept that the building is separate from the parliament is so ridiculous, and I really need to wrap my head around that. Attack on the parliament was an attack on not the building of the parliament, sir. It was the attack on the
But
on
Dr.
the
Kumar,
Indian parliament.
that distinction has been made by constitutional experts. Yes, you can value judge, but you can't call it constitutionally incorrect, sir. It's not constitutionally illegal.
But very bad party organizers. I mean, very bad what you call the inauguration organizers.
Can I respond quickly, Preeti?
Yeah, let him finish.
Preeti.
Dr. Kumar, please make your point.
So my question again is, I want Gauravji to go at it's not we don't hate anyone, Gauravji. Please get this wrapped around all you guys. We will oppose you on policies we believe you're wrong, and let's stop, thinking we hate you or not hate you. I don't hate you at all. I think you're a you can be very pleasant of the political discussion. So that's not the issue. The issue is what would have been the right thing. We seriously believe that the president should have inaugurated it because he heads both the chambers. That's our little two-bit, and that's why we are fighting for it.
Well, Mr. Bhatia, the point raised by Dr. Kumar is maybe, the organizer could have picked a day where the president and the vice president were free. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. Ajay ji, I would never assume that you hate the President of India or you hate me because we are dear friends. But I must say, please sack Adhir Ranjan Choudhry. He called Rashtrapati Rashtrapatini. Udit Raj, who was also making derogatory remarks on Rashtrapati. But they serve the Congress party and that hurts the sentiment of every citizen.
Let's not get into it because if I start each of the Congress, the TMC and the BJP equally responsible for making sexist, misogynist comments to Mr. Bhatia. Let's not get into that territory because there's no party which is holier than thou. When it comes to...
I don't know which one are you talking about.
Sir, multiple.
Can you give me an example,
multiple. Let's not get into that.
Can you give me one? Give me one example.
So there are plenty from your party.
When you are trying to make a charge against my party, give me one example,
okay, now you're asking me, I will tell you. I didn't want to tell you, sir. Do you remember that?
Yes, one.
No, I'll give you one, sir. I'll give you two. So do you remember a very esteemed party person from your political party calling Priyanka Gandhi's cheeks red and in a very derogatory way in Hindi, saying that's why she draws votes? That's why she draws votes. Let's not get into that.
I do not support any... Listen,
Ji.
Preeti, she doesn't hold any constitutional position.
Okay.
We are talking about the President of India. Nevertheless, such a comment should not have been said.
Sir, against Miss Sonia Gandhi as well, there have been plenty. Let's not get into that. Nobody, like I said, be it the Congress, the TMC, be it the Congress, the TMC or the BJP. None are...
Pandit Nehru.
Okay, let's not. Okay, we just ended.
Never mind. I think it's been a good debate.
All right. Appreciate all three gentlemen for joining us. Thank you there. We're going to keep a keen eye on the 28th of May. What goes down? 19 political parties have said they're not attending, but there's news also coming in that our wrestlers who've been protesting not very far from the new building are going to be marching to the new parliament. Why? Because they want to be heard. With that, let's move on. We bring you an exclusive investigation now conducted by India Today that uncovers how certain bullion traders are now offering dubious services to exchange 2,000 rupee bills. Yes, more.
On their way out, ground rules in place for exchange or deposit of 2,000 rupee banknotes in the next 4 months. No demonetization, no currency ban. Still, the cash mafia seems to be in high gear once again. An India Today investigation has found how several bullion traders in the national capital are now dubiously exchanging the withdrawn 2,000 rupee notes, facilitating hoarders of unaccounted money to dispose of the highest denomination of our currency at a lower value or swap it with gold at a premium. All off the book. This is Naresh Bansal, owner of Bansal & Sons Jewelers store in Delhi's Chandni Chowk. When probed, he proposed exchanging 1 crore rupees in 2,000 rupee denomination for 93 lakh in 500 rupee bills.
क्या बता रहे हैं आपका कितने रुपए का जमा हुआ सर 2000 वाली हमें गोल्ड चाहिए नोट के बदले नोट चाहिए ना गोल्ड चाहिए रेट में गोल्ड चाहिए जी नोट के बदले में नोट पे होगा तो वो भी मिल जाएगा इसीलिए हाँ दोनों.
You heard Naresh Bansal offering to exchange 1 crore rupees in 2,000 rupee notes. He now quotes his commission.
1 करोड़ का आप 7% का चार्ज लेंगे अगर हम कैश में देते हैं कैश टू कैश.
That comes down to 93 lakh rupees in exchange for 1 crore rupees in 2,000 rupee notes. But if a black money hoarder wants 24 karat gold in return, Bansal would also provide it at a premium price. On a day when 24 karat gold was priced at 61,570 rupees for 10 grams in the market, Bansal proposed to exchange it with 2,000 rupee notes at 67,000 rupees, a premium of approximately 5,500 rupees per 10 grams of gold. He also asserted that bullion traders like him are currently selling gold exclusively in return for 2,000 rupee notes in order to maximize their profits.
ये मेटल लोगे तो इतने का लगेगा। मेटल में कितना है? 67 का एक। 67 का। और अगर मैं मेटल ले रहा हूँ आगे और 500 का दे रहा हूँ जब भी नहीं दे रही क्योंकि उनके मेटल गिनती का है तो कहते हैं तो लाल नोट वालों की सेवा करेंगे।
We investigate further. Nitin Bansal also deals in gold and silver at Chandni Chowk. At the Satya Jewel store he owns, Nitin Bansal offered to exchange 1 crore rupees in 2,000 rupee bills with 24 karat gold, a price exceeding 4,000 rupees above its market rate on Monday.
गोल्ड देखना है 2000 सर एक्चुअली में मार्केट में 2 रेट चल रहे हैं 2000 वाले भी चल रही है और 500 वाले जो 2000 वाले का रेट है सर वो 65,750 रुपये समझ मेरे बात को आपसे हम केवाईसी नहीं ले रहे लेकिन काइंड ऑफ जो आपको महंगा पड़ रहा है वो क्यों पड़ रहा है क्योंकि ज्वेलर कहीं ना कहीं जीएसटी ठोक कर आपसे काम कर रहा है आपका पैसा कम हो रहा है ठीक है बस फ़र्क इतना सा है कि आपके नाम का बिल नहीं कट रहा वो बिल फटेंगे अरे सर 2 तो मैक्सिमम आप इजीली ऑफिस में बैठते सारे पेमेंट भी गिनती जाएगी 50 का पता जाएगा 50 की छोड़ देगी यहाँ से देखो रेडी होकर पार्सल आपका जाएगा।
We next visit another hub of bullion trading in Delhi. Paras Bhola owns Darshan Jewelers in Karol Bagh market. He offered to sell 24 karat gold at 67,000 rupees per 10 grams in exchange for 2,000 rupee bills. Bhola claimed black money hoarders bought it for as high as 70,000 rupees since the day the Reserve Bank announced the 2,000 rupee note withdrawal.
ये क्या भाव दे 2000 में? पारस बोल रहा हूँ 67 मिलेगा जी 67 और आज क्या रेट है 63 है ना 62 यानी 70 से भी एक टूटा हुआ 70,000 बेच लेते हम 70,000 चल रहा था पहले वो थोड़ा रेट टूट गया।
Tax thieves and the underground economy, roadblocks in the way of a cleaner financial system remain as stubborn as ever. With Nitin Jain and Shreya Chatterjee, this is India Today's special investigation team.
All right, with that investigation, it's time for us to wrap up this debate. Appreciate you all for joining us. Have a fabulous evening ahead. Up next is Gaurav Sawant.
Where the software engineer meets the gifted content writer, meets the cool UI UX designer, meets the talented photographer to create the big dream. The world comes together at Sharda University. So where are you?
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Where the software engineer meets the smart market analyst, meets the gifted content writer to create the big dream. The world comes together at Sharda University. So where are you?
Summers are devastating for stray animals. The scorching heat wave means animals living on the street struggle for water.